Welcome back everyone to the Hello World Guide. This is another episode of the C programming series. In this video we are going to continue with our program that we are writing, which is about a basic bank management system. And in this video we are going to learn how to organize our code efficiently by splitting it up into multiple files. And before we begin though, first let us go ahead and fix this small problem we had about we not being able to read the string correctly. Now I originally planned on using fgets, but I just realized that since our account name is fixed size, we can actually there is a much more efficient way to do that, which is we can actually use scanf with a width specifier. So what I mean is that we can say scanf, and inside here we can use a width specifier like this. So we will use s like we normally do to read strings. To read string you use the s format specifier, but between the s and the percentage sign we will put 3. What that means is that it will read a string but only 3 bytes. And what we will do is we will change this to 63, since our name is 64 bytes long, but 64 characters long. But the problem is that the last character is supposed to be the zero character, actually the null terminator, because every string ends with a actual binary value of 0, which allows you to know when this string is actually ending. So we need to have one less here, or else it will actually overflow because it will try to write a null terminator as well. So we will say 63 here, and here we can just pass account.name, and we don't put an and sign here because name is a pointer in itself and array is a pointer. So if we do this, that would make it a pointer to a pointer. We don't want to do that, so we'll do this, and this should actually read the name effectively. So let's first go ahead and test this we have created. So let's go ahead and run hello.c, and actually that was wrong. We are supposed to compile it, not run it. So let's say gcc hello.c, and once it has finished, what we should be able to do is we should be able to run a.exe like that. So you can see it is asking me to do what I want to do. If I say A for adding a new account, it asks me to enter a name, and I can say anything I like here. Let's just say John, for example. And let's it asks us to enter our initial deposit. I can say, for example, 50, and that you can see works. And you can see it does cause a bit of a problem, because after we do that, it says what you want to do, and it automatically assumes that this is an invalid command. So let's go ahead and fix that problem, and then we can go on to actually creating a header file. So the reason that problem occurred was because of the way we were reading this character. So we were reading it using get car, but the problem is that when we are done reading the character, there is an extra new line, and get car actually reads that new line the next time, because the next time if there is anything typed before, it will actually read that. So in order to fix this, we can use scanf like that. Like we can use the character C format specifier to actually read the character like that. But what we can do is we can put a space after. Now this space actually matters, and what this does is that it tells scanf to ignore any white space. So when the user presses enter, it will actually not record that enter new line, and it should work correctly. And this what we have got right now is actually going to work in the way we expect it to. So in order to test this, I'm going to first of all, let me clear this terminal. Then I'm going to get it like that, and now let's go ahead, and I've already compiled, so I'm just going to run, and it asks us what we want to do, and let's just say add an account. And for the account name, we can put anything we want here. Actually, let's put something that makes sense, and for the initial deposit, let's say 50. And now let's go ahead and add another one, and this should remember append to the file. And let's go ahead and say something else here, and then just something random, and some other balance as well. And now let's queue for quit. Now let's go ahead and open up the file that it has created, accounts.dat. Let's open it with the hex editor, And you can see that if I go here, you can see John is actually recorded here correctly. So you can see that that is recorded correctly. Remember though that this is actually supposed to be 64 characters, so all of this is junk ahead of it, and we don't really care about that. So we are going to move exactly 4 rows forward, because one is actually 16 characters. So now let's go here, and this is actually the ID. These 4 bytes are the ID, and you can see that this is as an unsigned integer represented as 0. So this uint32 actually means an unsigned integer. And if I go here, you can see in float 32 it manages to read its value correctly as 50 if the next 4 bytes represent that. And after that there is the random name that I typed, and this actually represents that. And if we move exactly 4 rows below it, then actually not, that was not 4, so this is first, this is second, this is third, and this is fourth. And if I do that and I move here, there should be a 0 here as well. So let's see if there is actually a 0 here. Yeah, so you can see that okay, as I move exactly after 4 rows, the 5th row, you can see here we have got zeros here until that is done, and until the integer for 4 bytes, and then after that we have got the float I entered, which is 898. So this is actually working, and we are going to now separate this into a header file. So creating a header file is very simple. Header files normally end in the extension .h, and a good way to separate your program into multiple files, because even though this is a small program, as we make our program larger, and it will become difficult to maintain it in a single file, so it's a good idea to separate it. So let's go ahead and create a separate program, separate file to hold our functions, and a separate file to actually hold the main program functionality. So let's create a file called functions.h. And now what we can do is we can take this, let's just take this add function, and let's go ahead and paste this here instead. And since this is in a header file, let's just remove the actual, let's actually take the account here and move that as well, because this is actually needed there in the functions.h. And if I cut this and I move this here as well, it is yeah, you can see that looks awesome. And now it is still giving 2 errors, which is because we have not actually included stdio.h here, because we need to include that here separately. So we will go ahead and say hashtag include, and then we will say stdio.h, and that should include that file as well. And now you should see that the errors go away. Now here we don't really need this declaration anymore, and what we can do is now it will start to give an error because it does not know about add if we actually try to compile it, but we can include that functions. Now for including actual standard library files, we use these angle brackets, but for including files that are in this directory, in the actual program directory that we are right now, we actually use this. So we use just normal code. So we can go ahead and do that, and you can say hashtag include functions.h, and that should effectively include this file correctly, and this should actually work. So if I go here and I try to compile it, you should see it gives no error, and if you try to run it, it will actually work the same way. So you can see it gives no errors. So yeah, this was pretty much it for this video. In this video we finished our actual account adding functionality, and we also learned about header, separating files into headers. But this, just creating a header, is not actually the end of the story, because this approach has some problems, as we will learn about in the next video, and we will also learn about the solutions to those problems. So stay tuned for that, and make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one, and bye.